Hey everyone, so we're going to go over the just processes of using Tally and effectively how to complete the assignment. So first I'm going to just start up Revit here, get it going. So get the assignment sheet here for my ease of use. Alright, so for this project, I'm going to just use this Revit sort of a default sample project. It'll get the point across. Okay, so here it is. So first thing I want to do is I want to be in a standard 3D view. It's the only way to get Tally to work. You should already have Tally installed. That was, a requirement in like the first week of this course. So hopefully everyone already has that all set up. So let's see. Let's take a look at the assignment. So the first portions of the assignment is I'm going to have you look at 5 different alternatives for some kind of finish. So, like I say, this can be a carpet, a ceiling tile, wallboard, floor tile, drywall, which is essentially a wallboard, and you're going to generate 5 different reports and then compare the differences between the 5 different elements. Then you will do the same for 3 what I call components. So it could be a window, it could be a door, it could be a curtain wall panel, whatever. And then we're going to look at a complete system. And then finally, you're going to go through and do a whole building life cycle analysis. So to get started, you have everything in 3D view, and you can click on Tally. And just wait for it to, get itself set up. Okay, should be around. Using a dual monitor. Okay, just downloading updates. It updates pretty frequently. So here we are in the Tally interface. So there's a lot of different options in Tally. We won't be using really the design option comparison or the template file. The design option comparison is really useful if you have design option scenarios within Revit. So if you're leveraging that, which would really be kind of an ideal way to do this, because you may have, maybe 3 or 4 different facade studies all saved as different design options, and then look at the different LCA of each sort of design. I think using design options sort of in this course is going to burden a lot of people, so I'm saying we'll just use the full building assessment. The template allows one to set sort of template materials to use on future projects, but we're just using full building assessment. So I select this. I'm going to select all these. This is useful, this sort of so of course this top is the complete model, and then we have all the work sets, the phases, and then demolition. So if one's, really, maybe we have an existing building and we want to just understand maybe the life cycle analysis of our demolition work, and then we can do that. But again, I feel like working with these things right now, they probably aren't applicable. I mean, I don't think anyone has sort of, existing and new phases in their case study Revit model. So again, we're not even worrying about that. But to do this sort of single finish comparison, so I'm going to, for my example, I'm going to do ceilings, Other people may be looking into a finish applied to walls or floors. Yeah, actually, yeah. So I'm just going to do ceiling. So I select ceilings. I click apply, and now it audits basically all the different ceiling types that have been modeled within Revit. So it's really great because it just goes through and looks at everything. Now I only require the sort of review of a single material, not even a single material, but a single application of material, as long as it's the same. So in this project, I'm just going to review different options for this plain plasterboard tile. So to change the material or really activate, we right click and we select edit definition, and then we go through and we specify what material. So maybe instead of plasterboard, I want to look at gypsum board. Now the options are organized into the Construction Specifiers Institute's master format. If anyone's unfamiliar and may want to look into that, I placed a reference document on Blackboard, but it'll just become easier to maybe navigate all this. And so I'm interested in gypsum wallboard. Click apply. Alright, so now I can select the actual type. Go natural. For service life, I'm just going to use the default 30 years, but there are ways to set this more specifically. For the takeoff method, now this is where it gets interesting too, because I can do it by volume. So that's going to be a percentage of the volume expressed, 100%. So that means that's going to work based upon the surface area coverage and the thickness of which I have it modeled in Revit. Now, if I don't want to remodel, but I redo my digital work, I could do it by area. So it's going to look at the surface area of the item, and then I can select the actual thickness. So I'm going to say 1/2 inch for this to avoid having to redo my digital work. For the finish, I'm going to just say none, because we're really interested in just looking at what happens if I use this material, and I'm going to say none for foil facing. And then I can just click save. And I'm just going to apply it to the single instant that we're looking at, but I could apply it kind of throughout the model by selecting these other options. And there we go. Now with this all set, I can, you want to click refresh just to make sure it refreshes. But now I can generate a report looking at this sort of modification. This gives me a summary of what's going on. See, for this is it right here. So if I click save reports, all this information is pretty, intuitive. So I'm just gonna call it test. Now a lot of these items must be filled out before it will allow one to save a report. So I'm gonna say gypsum ceiling. LCA, I'll just call it 001 because I'm going to do actually ceiling finish LCA. There we go. Expected building life 60 years. Sounds good. We have to fit in the gross building area. So how do we get that? I believe in this there is, yeah, so there's area plans, so I'm gonna get mine from a schedule. So it's 511 millimeters squared. There we go. We're just going to assume 60 years. That sounds good. Just me. LCA example. Okay. The address is in here. Sure. Just use that. Okay, great. So I could, put a customized image for the report. There's just a lot of customization that we can do. So, an example is for the transportation data. Assume some defaults for us, such as how much will come from trucking, rail, barge, container, ship. All of these can be modified if we have further information on it. Same with the include construction impacts, include operational impacts. It will consider these, but we could really, if I wanted to include the energy, for example. Hang on, I got a menu stuck. The transportation didn't close. So if I wanted to include the operational impacts, I could select this, enter how much energy is used for operational, and then I could even do it per area, and then the source of where it's at. So if I wanted to be more specific, I'll just say both these are the United States. Yeah, just use the average, and then for natural gas, we'll say, yes, east, and then probably per area. So, this could be a way of refining it. We could use resources such as quartz, not really, but yeah, so anyhow, this would be a way of refining it. These sort of items would just be if we're like hardcore getting into LCA, and I'm looking at just sort of demonstrating the capabilities within Revit, but know that everything can be customized, and you would really want to do that and understand really what's going on if you're preparing a professional LCA report. Of course, you're more than welcome to dive into, really studying the transportation of your selected material, or modifying the construction impacts or operational and energy impacts. But we're really just doing a comparison too. So as long as we maintain all the same variables, then we can easily update our material and understand the differences and the negatives between materials. For the outputs, you can put it gives you a nice bill of materials in Excel, and then also gives you a PDF report. Maybe you want to investigate the Excel outputs, but it's not necessarily required. And then I forget what the Revit. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and keep all the stuff, and then just click save. Save it to wherever. I'm going to call it LCA or ceiling. I'll say 001. Save. And then I get my report. Some of this is kind of, table of contents. I mean, it's all nice, but this is the kind of information we're really interested in. So if I go back to here, you can see that it's still accounted for energy and everything without modifying those values. And then same for over here in this chart, we see that we have transportation, maintenance, manufacturing. It's all it's all here. You know, just a lot of information. Some of it's repetitive, like it provides us because it's organizing it by Revit category, which we just have one, so it's not too different. Then itemized by CSI division, so maybe just pick one and sort of the first two parts of the report, and then the global warming potential, primary energy demand. This chart gets way more informative when we have more sort of materials, but it's useful to be able to just hone in on one too as we're syncing for a sort of optimal solution. So this would be, you know, one variation. Now if I wanted to edit this, I can just right click and select edit materials. And let's try a more traditional ceiling. Let's try mineral fiberboard. Just click apply. Go through all this. Service life again, just default. It's operating by area. Finish. I'm just gonna say none. Yes, that. Save, apply. See, it's assuming a 5/8 inch thick. Okay, you always want to double check the detail. Let's make sure it's good. And then we can just save another report, and so then this is going to be report 2. And then I'm just going to turn some of these off because I just really want this sort of life cycle stage. The division Revit category, maybe those two are more useful, and maybe the sort of last two parts of the assignment. So we can see here. And yeah, all pretty self-evident, I would think. I mean, you're just doing 5 different variations and just kind of looking at probably this chart would be the best one to compare across all 5, because you can directly see the sort of changes and environmental impact pretty readily. These other charts might be useful where it breaks up the manufacturing and transportation maintenance, just to get a grasp on what's being caused by what. And yeah, I mean, there it is. The appendix, the metadata can provide, you know, background information. So, I mean, you know, read over as much as you would like to know about LCA. It's all here. It's all pretty descript. So then so that is to do the 5 comparisons of the system, or not the system, the finish, and then to go back, we can click define scope, and so now what we want to do, like, actually I closed it, but that's alright. So, you know, you're going to generate 5 reports, then you got 5 different finishes, keeping the variables the same throughout each. And then you're going to look at 3 different alternatives for some sort of component. So again, just a window or door or curtain panel, and you'll do that here. And I'm just going to do a door, right? So I select doors, apply. So again, just a single door that I'm interested in that I change repeatedly. So we will go with, sure, how about this glass door? Also, if I'm ever curious what it is I'm actually picking, I can right click, select isolate in Revit view. Oh, okay, I need to be in a 3D view for that to work. There we go. So then I can just select isolate and view, and then it shows me. It's like, okay, I've got a substantial amount, good enough to conduct a life cycle analysis on. So great. So this is going to be the one I use. So I might just click edit, doors under openings, and then same routine. Right click, apply, go in here, make my different choices. Sure, minimized. I'm just gonna again use the default of 30 years. Hardware, sure, we will say it's commercial because it is. Stainless steel, that sounds good. Closer. I realize some of these components may be new to some people. I don't know where you're at with maybe your building construction system sequence or anything else. But, you know, just use online references, use good books like Building Construction Illustrated or Architectural Graphics if you don't really know what some of the stuff means. I mean, make sure you know what it means if you're putting it into computer simulation. This is always common practice to make sure you know what you're doing. So, that's, you know, then we just select this one that we want to analyze, click apply. Click refresh, and it's the same deal of just preparing a report, you know, filling in something that's maybe, I don't know, door, LCA 1, or whatever you want to name the sort of goal of assessment. I mean, it's all up to you. Yeah, then just click save, and then, you know, it's called LCA. I should call it door LCA 01. Click save. And here it is. So then I'd probably come in here. There's a way too, if I click edit, then I can begin to get some of the stuff. And I would probably just copy this and put it in something like InDesign or what some of you may need to do too, because we want to get all this information concentrated in a single resource. So this is one route to sort of, you know, copy and paste from the crop out, but anyone who's Excel savvy may prefer the Excel output, right? Bill of materials Excel, and I'll just show you that really quick here. Desktop, sure. Yeah, go ahead and replace it. So here's the. Okay, just taking a moment. Okay, I kind of messed this up. So what I want to do is, if you want to do the Excel, I recommend not just selecting that, just selecting this. Will take a second. I don't know why it's kind of freaking out, but we can get all the same things, and we see how maintenance replacements all accounted for the division entry, but the first tab is the life cycle stuff. So this would be really easy actually to take and you know, set up as a sort of chart per material studied, and just copy and paste some elements, and then generate a sort of chart based upon that. You know, knowledge of Excel is not required for this class, so it's not something I can specify, but if it was me, I would probably be looking at an Excel method for my comparisons. Just depending, though. I mean, it's really easy work too to take it from the PDF and, you know, do a sort of copy paste whatever. So that's that. So that's the first portion. Is you're going to. I think I've been pretty clear on how to compare your 5 finishes, then compare your 3, I believe it is, sort of assemblies, elements, and then when you create the just remember when you're changing between the finishes and your components, you want to be sure to have you want to be sure to only have the appropriate category chat, or else it will produce LCA that has a mixed finish indoors, which is okay. We might want in the future. So, all right. So there's sort of part 1 of the assignment.